Life doesn't give us a warning when it's about to change. Sometimes, it only gives us 3 days. 3 days to confront the past, 3 days to speak the words we've kept buried, 3 days to forgive, or at least, to try. In Tyler's 3 Days in June, we're reminded that time doesn't always heal by stretching out across years. Sometimes, healing begins in the smallest, most ordinary windows of time, when we finally stop avoiding what hurts. This is a story about family, silence, and the unexpected courage it takes to let go. Woman #protagonist, Nora Whitaker. Nora is a woman in her 60s who lives alone, surrounded by books, old photographs, and routines she rarely breaks. She's a former librarian, sharp, observant, but emotionally guarded. She's lived in the same home for over 3 decades, and even though it's filled with memories, there's a persistent undertone of absence. A brother gone. Parents long deceased. A marriage that ended quietly years ago. Her days are simple. A crossword in the morning, a cup of tea on the porch by noon, and a predictable dinner every night. She speaks occasionally with her widowed neighbor, June Abrams, who offers comic relief and serves as a gentle foil, open where Nora is reserved, warm where Nora is hesitant. Telephone receiver, the call that changes everything. Everything shifts when Nora receives a phone call from her estranged younger brother, Alan. He's returning to Baltimore for the first time in 18 years. His daughter, Rose, wants to see where her family came from. They're planning a short visit, just 3 days. Nora's first instinct is to say no. But something, a flicker of curiosity, guilt, or perhaps loneliness, makes her say yes. #TWO. Uncovering the past. The next morning, the house feels different. The air is warmer. The sunlight a little too bright. Nora finds Alan already in the kitchen, sipping coffee. She notices his hands trembling slightly as he reaches for the sugar jar. Before she can ask, he slips something, a small bottle of medication, back into his pocket. She doesn't say a word. But she notices. And so does Rose. Breakfast is quieter. Nora makes scrambled eggs the way their mother used to, without mentioning it. Alan compliments them. Rose watches them both like she's reading an old book in a language she's just beginning to understand. As the day unfolds, the conversations deepen. Rose begins to ask things that cut closer to the bone. What were Nora's parents like in their final years? Why didn't Alan come home? Why did no one tell her any of this growing up? Alan grows defensive. He says he needed space. That staying would have crushed him. That Nora wanted to take care of things. Nora flinches, but doesn't argue. Instead, she walks Rose through the garden, pointing out the fig tree their father planted. The spot where the dog used to bury socks. The rusting garden shears left behind in a moment of distraction and never moved. Later, while Alan naps, Rose quietly confesses to Nora, "I asked him to come here. He didn't want to. I think he's scared." She pauses. Of what he left. And of what's still waiting for him. That night, Nora pulls out an old book from her mother's shelf. Inside, something falls out. A letter, unopened, addressed to Alan. The postmark is dated 2 days before their mother died. Nora stares at it for a long time. She doesn't read it, not at first. She just holds it, and in the quiet dark, she places it on Alan's pillow without a word. Day 3. Truth and tenderness. The final morning arrives slower. There's a heaviness in the air that feels like the end of something, but maybe also the beginning. Alan is quieter. He comes down late. The usual banter is gone. When Nora asks how he slept, he simply nods. They move through the day gently. No one pushes. No one pries. Instead, they do small things together. Alan helps Nora prune the garden hedge. Nora bakes bread and for the first time, asks Alan to knead the dough, like he used to when they were kids. It's a small moment. But something about it softens the space between them. Later, while Rose helps wash dishes, Alan quietly tells Nora, "I read the letter." He doesn't elaborate. She doesn't ask, but in the stillness between them, an entire conversation happens. One filled with guilt, apology, love, and surrender, all without a single word. That afternoon, Nora takes Rose to the family cemetery. The sun is high. The gravestones are warm beneath their hands. They kneel beside their grandparents. Their parents. Rose reads the names. Traces the dates with her fingers. "Did you always want to stay?" She asks, "Did it make you sad?" Nora takes a breath. "I didn't stay because I had to. I stayed because life narrowed itself. And one day, I realized I'd stopped looking for the road out." A pause. "But I don't regret it. Not all of it." As they walk back, Rose links her arm through Nora's. It's small, but it's enough. That evening, as they're packing to leave, Alan finally speaks the truth. "I'm sick. Parkinson's. It's early. But I didn't come just to show her where we came from. I came because I wanted her to have something. Something real." Nora says nothing. She just reaches over and squeezes his hand. And in that single gesture, they both understand. 3 days weren't enough to undo a lifetime, but they were enough to begin again. Thought balloon what the book is really about, and Tyler doesn't write novels that shout. She writes novels that whisper, that linger, that breathe. 3 Days in June is about the regrets we carry for too long, the family members we never stopped loving. Even when we stopped speaking to them, the spaces between words, and how much life lives in those spaces. It's about how time doesn't always heal, but connection might, and how sometimes all we need is a weekend, a conversation, a moment of courage to start letting go of what has weighed us down for years. WHY you should read it if you've ever lost touch with someone you once loved, if you've ever wished for a do-over. Even a small one. If you believe that quiet books can still break your heart open, then 3 Days in June belongs on your shelf. It's not fast-paced. It's not flashy, but it's real. It's deeply human. And by the end, you'll find yourself thinking, what would I say if I had just 3 days? A UTO call to action. Have you read 3 Days in June? Or do you have someone in your life you wish you could reconnect with? Let me know in the comments. And if you love quiet, emotionally powerful stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More books that make us think and feel are coming soon. Until then, take care of your stories, take care of your time. And remember, sometimes the most ordinary days are the ones that change everything.